By the Fireplace. It's been a while since I've talked about this one. It's one of my very favorite cooler weather fragrances. We all know it's based around the notes of chestnut, a little bit of smoke, and vanilla. So this one here has spawned many alternatives, and I'm here to go over my personal favorites. I'm going to be telling you how they all compare to this one, and I'm going to be telling you which is my personal favorite and which ones I would recommend that you go ahead and pick up. So guys, stick around. Replica by the Fireplace alternatives. Hey guys, welcome back to Real Scent Review. Thanks for tuning in again tonight. So I'm going to be going over tonight one of my very favorite cooler weather fragrances. I know right now we're almost coming up to the middle of May. So for a lot of you out there, the weather is actually starting to get warmer as opposed to colder. I know that a lot of you guys are located in North America, and I know that right now, specifically on the East Coast, you guys are still getting some pretty cold weather. Also, I really am a believer that people can wear any scent whenever they want, regardless of the temperature, regardless of the season. Yes, we all know that this scent here and its alternatives are on the sweeter side. However, I think that anyone can wear whatever they want, whenever they want, and I think that these are perfect for nighttime use year-round, including the warmer weather of the summer. I know not a lot of people think that. Some do, some don't, but I am just saying that I think a lot of these fragrances are a lot more versatile than people give them credit for. So without any further ado, I'm going to start with Replica by the Fireplace by the house of Margiela. Here we go here, the iconic bottle, all the information on the front here. Cylindrical bottle, nice top. However, it does not have a cap. Anyway, I digress. Let's get a spray out of this bottle here. Very nice scent. So of course with this one, the main notes are gonna be the roasted chestnut. That's what it's famous for. Also definitely some vanilla, a little bit of guaiac wood, and some cashmere in the dry down. So in the immediate opening here, what I'm struck with is some roasted chestnut. It's absolutely a delicious accord, and it's mixed with some smoke. Now, I'm pretty sure the smoke is coming from the guaiac wood. It's a very woody type of smoky scent here in the very opening. And then there's some vanilla. And towards the dry down, there's a woody muskiness, which is coming from the cashmere. Now, my favorite part of this scent is in the very opening, where we get that roasted chestnut vanilla sweetness with that super solid woody smoky background that's provided by the guaiac wood. I love that smokiness. Unfortunately, the smokiness in this does not last. It is quickly overpowered by the vanilla and the chestnut accord. And after 10-15 minutes, the smokiness in this is completely gone, unfortunately, because that's my favorite part. And I know a lot of other people out there enjoy the smokiness as well. However, I must say, this is a beautiful scent. Like I said, it's one of my absolute favorites for cold weather. It's one of my favorites for nighttime use year-round, regardless of the season. It's easily one of my most complimented fragrances, and the smell is very high quality. The ingredients smell very high quality in this, and that's reflected in the price. This one is not a cheap one. It's usually right around the $80 US mark for a bottle of this. So the total longevity on my skin is right around between 7 and 8 hours. The projection is fine for the first 2 hours. So I get like maybe the first hour, it's about an arm's length projection. Second hour, it's closer to elbow's length projection. But all in all, very good performance. Absolutely nothing to complain about. So moving on to the next one here, and I have my coffee grinds here to reset the olfactory sense before I go on to the next scent here. It's a way to cleanse the palate a little bit. So the second one I have here is Raghba Wood Intense by the house of Latafa. Nice bottle here, very heavy, very solid bottle here. And the sides of it are designed to look like they're made of wood, even though they're pretty low quality plastic stickers, and you only see them on 3 sides. So anyway, the bottle's a little bit tacky, but the quality itself of the bottle is very good, very thick, very heavy. The cap slides off here, does not click into place. But anyway, we're here to discuss the smell. So I'm gonna waste a few sprays. Okay, so in this one, there are a few differences up top compared to By the Fireplace. By the way, technically out of this whole list, this is the original fragrance. This came out in 2014, which was a whole year before By the Fireplace came out. So technically, the list should be named Raghba Wood Intense and alternatives. However, everybody knows Replica by the Fireplace. This is by far the most famous one out of the group. It's the one that made this scent profile famous. So I'm going to be basing all of these other fragrances off this one, and I'm sure you guys will understand why, even though technically they are all clones of this one. Are they really clones? I digress. So in the opening of Raghba Wood Intense here, get some guaiac wood. So it's smoky and woody in the very beginning, and it's quickly joined by some burnt caramel. A little later on, we get some licorice, and in the dry down, it's mostly vanilla mixed with some more of that licorice. So out of all of these fragrances, Raghba Wood Intense is the one that veers off into its own direction the most. It's the one that's most different from the rest. However, I have to say I really like this one, mostly because of the guaiac wood and the licorice. So opening here, we get the woody guaiac wood mixed with some burnt caramel, which kind of replaces the chestnut, right, in Replica by the Fireplace. This is the only one where chestnut isn't really a note. Instead, like I said, it's replaced by a burnt caramel note, which really works. And the smoke here definitely carries on a lot longer than it does in By the Fireplace. And then this licorice note. I absolutely love the licorice note in this and the way it mixes with that sweet vanilla in the dry down. This is a really good one here. The projection on this stuff here, very good. I get pretty good arm's length projection for the first 2 hours, and the longevity on my skin is between 8 and 9 hours. So the performance is slightly better than By the Fireplace. And the smell itself in this one is just, it feels like it's more concentrated. It's bolder in general. Not only in terms of the performance, but in terms of the actual concentration of the smell itself. It's just a little bit bolder. Okay, moving on to the next one here. Majd Al Sultan by the House of Asdaf. Now, Asdaf is a subsidiary of Latafa. Long, tall bottle here. Heavy, thick, very nice. The information on the front here. The cap pulls off. The cap is very flimsy, terrible quality, and it does not stick into place. Gonna pull it off now and waste a spray because that's what you guys really care about, is the smell of this stuff. Okay, so in the very opening here, we get something a little bit different. In the very opening, right, for the first 5 minutes, I definitely detect a little bit of oud. It's a very synthetic oud. It's an oily type of deep woodiness. Now, it's not animalic, it's not barnyardy. This is a very accessible, friendly type of oud. It's not the type of oud that's ever gonna turn anybody off. However, it might not be what you're expecting in a fragrance like this. So the main notes we're gonna get in this one are, for the first 5 minutes, oud, but that disappears quickly. Incense, chestnut, amber, and myrrh. So like I said, in the first 5 minutes, in the very opening here, there is definitely a synthetic oud note. Then very quickly afterward, that disappears and we get a very nice incense note. Now it's a very distinct, smoky incense note. It's not very resinous, at least not in the beginning. The incense note in this is very nice. And the way it's mixed with the chestnut here really reminds me of the opening of By the Fireplace. Moving further into the dry down, we get some sweet amber, and to finish off, some resinous myrrh, which reminds me of kind of like a dry incense stick. Now the actual smoky incense does last all the way through this till the very end, but at the end it's mixed with a more resinous type of myrrh, resinous type of dry incense almost. Now this one here, very nice, very close to By the Fireplace by Margiela. The only differences are, this one here, the incense lasts a lot longer. And of course, like I said, in the first 5 minutes of this one, there is a synthetic oud accord, but that does not last. And don't even worry about it. It's very accessible. It's a very pleasant type of oud in this. Moving on to the performance of this one. For the first hour, it's about an arm's length projection. For the second hour, it's definitely closer to the elbow, but I do get 2 hours of pretty decent projection on this. Total longevity on my skin is right around 8 hours. So it's on par with Raghba Wood Intense, and it's slightly better than By the Fireplace. Now, this is not as bold, it's not as concentrated as Raghba Wood Intense. However, the performance on it is still very nice. And the smell, the total sum of all the notes in this, the DNA itself, I really like this one. Really like it. Okay, now let's move on to the fourth and final one here. Ameer al Oudh Intense Oud, again from Latafa. Tall, rectangular. See the designs on the front here. The cap comes off. It's a nice heavy cap, but it does not click into place. And once again, we're gonna waste a spray because that's what really matters in this video. So upon initial spray of this, we get a tiny bit of a herbal, musky quality. It definitely smells like there's a little bit of musk mixed with some sage at the very beginning. That does not last. That goes away within 15 seconds here. That part's already gone. And then we're met with some chestnut, some oud. Again, it's a synthetic oud. It's very oily, very accessible, not barnyardy, not animalic. It's just a deep type of oud accord here. Obviously synthetic, it's not real oud. Further on down the line, that's mixed with some vanilla and some sandalwood at the very bottom here. So this one here, the chestnut is definitely very prominent, but there's no smoke in this at all. So this is what differs from all of the other fragrances in this list. No smoke at all in this one. Instead, it's replaced by, like I said, it's a very oily kind of oud accord here. Now it's perfectly accessible. However, it is a little bit on the Middle Eastern side. Might be a little bit exotic for Western noses, but it is not off-putting at all. It's just a little bit different. Might not be what you're expecting. However, it really, really works in this fragrance. And that eventually dies down, and then we're left with vanilla and the chestnut, and there's some creamy, woody sandalwood in the very bottom of this one. Very, very pleasant smell here. So moving on to the performance. Performance on my skin, again, for the first hour, it projects for about an arm's length, and then for the second hour, it stays a little bit closer to elbow's length, but all in all, pretty good projection on this. Longevity, right around 8 hours on my skin, so it's on par with the rest of them, although it's not quite as heavy and concentrated as Raghba Wood Intense. So now that I've reviewed all 4 offerings here, I'm gonna give one final smell to each, and then I'm gonna give you my overall verdict as to which one I prefer and which one comes closest to By the Fireplace. Okay, so I've concluded the following. I think if you're really looking for like just the best straight up alternative, the cologne in this list that smells the most similar to By the Fireplace, I think it would be this one here, which is Asdaf's Majd Al Sultan. This one definitely comes closest in terms of scent profile. The big difference with this one is here, the smoke lasts all the way through from beginning to dry down. And in the very opening, there is that synthetic oud accord. Now, if that beginning sounds a little bit off-putting to you, I promise it isn't. Give it 5 minutes, it totally disappears, and this turns into basically By the Fireplace. However, this one is not my personal favorite. I know you guys probably don't really care what my personal favorite one is. You're probably watching this video because you want the most realistic alternative to By the Fireplace. However, my personal favorite is this one. I love that smoky guaiac wood accord, and I love the licorice. I love how concentrated this one is. I like how bold the scent is. But you know what? You really cannot go wrong with any of these 4. I will say, however, the most natural smelling is By the Fireplace by Margiela. It's also the most expensive. A lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times, the more expensive the fragrance is, the higher quality the ingredients. And certainly in this case, that is no exception. So if what you really want is absolutely the most natural smelling, it's gonna be this one by far. However, to the average person out there, they're gonna have a very hard time differentiating between all of these 4 fragrances here. But if you're smelling them close up on the skin, it becomes pretty obvious that this one is the most natural smelling. It's a really good one, yes, but if you're not willing to cough up the $80 for a bottle of this, no problem whatsoever, because I've given you 3 really good alternatives here and you really can't go wrong. So this one, in my opinion, would be the absolute closest in terms of scent profile to By the Fireplace, whereas this one is my favorite. I really like the boldness of this. So guys, I really hope you've enjoyed my By the Fireplace alternatives video. I hope you guys have been able to take some information out of this and put it towards making an informed buying decision for yourself. I'm going to include the prices of all of these below and some links where you can find them online. Thanks again, guys, and until next time, keep it real.